Hey guys, it's Nisha. Welcome back to another video. Well, first things first, you're probably wondering if I'm anemic. I've actually been asked that several times here on YouTube as well as on Instagram because apparently I have these dark circles under my eyes. In today's video, I'll be answering whether I'm anemic or not, so stay tuned for that. I'll also be sharing my vegan blood test results. And by vegan blood test results, I just mean blood test results as a vegan because vegans have the same kind of blood as non-vegans. And finally, I'll be talking about should vegans take supplements. There's a lot of misinformation out there about what kind of supplements of vitamins and minerals vegans need. Do they need them? What kinds do they need? How much? So I'll be talking about my experience with that. So let's get right into the video. When you tell someone that you're vegan, you're often met with a series of concerns. One is which, are you getting enough vitamins and minerals? And I'd say the most common vitamins and minerals that people associate vegans not getting enough of are vitamin B12, calcium, vitamin D, and iron. Before I get into all of the vitamins and minerals, I just want to mention two things. One, if you enjoy this video or find it useful, please hit that thumbs up button. It's always very much appreciated when you do. And two, I'm not a doctor. Everything I'm telling you is based on my own experience, hours of research, and my consultation with my doctors and medical professionals. If you want to take a supplement or curious about what you need to take or what you should take, I do recommend going to see your own doctor and getting your lab test results done. Let's start with vitamin B12. There are some plant-based sources of food that have vitamin B12 supplemented in them, like nutritional yeast or certain plant-based milks or cereals or breads. I do think vegans and non-vegans could benefit from taking a supplement, and that's because it's hard to get enough vitamin B12 from dietary sources, particularly plant-based sources of food. Our bodies can't absorb that much B12 at once, so even if you are eating a source of food that's rich in vitamin B12, your body might not be able to absorb it all at once. But it's not just vegans that might be low in vitamin B12. In fact, according to US government studies done over the last 20 years, up to 40% of the US population has low vitamin B12, so it's not just vegans because I know that 40% of the population is not vegan or even vegetarian. In terms of what supplements to take, you have two main options. One is a vitamin B12 pill that has at least 25 micrograms per serving, and you take that every day. The other option is to take a more concentrated source of vitamin B12, which is usually in the form of a spray. These are my lab results. My vitamin B12 level is 619. The average levels should be between 200 and 1100, so mine is right there in the middle. My doctor was very pleased with my vitamin B12 levels, which made me very pleased with myself. The vitamin B12 spray I use is certified vegan, so you can find that in the description box below. For a vitamin B12 supplement, you want to make sure it's in the form of methylcobalamin, I think, instead of the other form, which is cyanocobalamin. So just remember that one of them sounds like cyanide and you don't want cyanide because it's poison. The one that starts with an M is more bioavailable and thus easier for your body to absorb. Now I want to talk about calcium. When I was a little girl, I was told that calcium was needed to build strong bones and teeth, which is true. But I was also told that the only way to get enough calcium was to drink 3 glasses of cow's milk every day, which is not true. And that's because calcium is not found in cows. Calcium is a mineral, and like minerals, it's found in the soil where plants grow. So cows eat tons of grass and they absorb lots of calcium, and that's why you get calcium in milk. But because most dairy cows in the United States are not grass-fed, they're instead eating feed that's supplemented with calcium and other vitamins, minerals, and hormones. In contrast, there are tons of plant-based sources of calcium that are really easy to incorporate into your diet. Leafy greens are an excellent source of calcium, particularly collard greens, mustard greens, bok choy, and kale. Another easy source of calcium are fortified plant milks like soy milk or almond milk or cashew milk. The brand of almond milk I use, for instance, has 45% of your daily calcium needs, so it's really easy to get enough calcium on a plant-based diet. Another great source of calcium are minimally processed soy products like tofu, tempeh, and soybeans. One of my favorite sources of calcium is sesame seeds and tahini, which is sesame seed paste, and I'll include a link in the description box below for an oil-free tahini salad dressing. Some other sources of calcium include almonds and almond butter, broccoli, oranges, and dried fruit. My diet is pretty rich in a lot of those foods that I mentioned that have calcium. Unsurprisingly, my calcium levels are totally normal. The average for calcium is 8.6 milligrams per DL to 10.2, and mine is 9.6, which is completely normal. So definitely not difficult to get enough calcium if you're eating a relatively whole foods plant-based diet. The next vitamin I want to talk about is vitamin D. Vitamin D is one of those vitamins that's not really found in a lot of food sources. There are a couple of non-vegan sources like eggs, and there are a couple of vegan sources like mushrooms, fortified plant milks, and some tofus have up to 20% of your daily vitamin D needs. But in general, the best source of vitamin D is sunshine exposure. The amount of sun exposure you need to get enough vitamin D depends on a few variables. 1, geography, where in the world do you live? 2, your skin color. And 3, what's the time of year? Is it summer or is it winter? With respect to geography, the sun's ultraviolet rays are a lot stronger near the equator than they are further away if you live in a northern climate like I do in New York City. So if you live near the equator, you might actually only need 10 to 15 minutes or even less of sun exposure every day to get enough vitamin D. But if you live in a northern climate, in a cooler climate, you might need closer to 30 minutes. And if it's the winter time and you live in a northern climate, the sun's simply not strong enough to give you enough vitamin D, which is why it's helpful to take a supplement whether you're vegan or not. And if you have darker skin or chocolate skin like I do, then you actually need a little more sun exposure than people with fair complexions, because that's just how science works. And vitamin D is somewhere I did fall short on my lab results. So the healthy range is 30 to 100 nanograms per milliliter, and mine was 28, so it's short by just a little bit. If you have a level between 20 and 29, you're considered insufficient, and if you have something below 20, you're considered deficient, and that's where you really want to be concerned. You really want to take a supplement, go see a doctor about it. So mine isn't terribly low. I've had low vitamin D in the past before I became vegan. It's winter right now, so it's not really surprising. Most of the doctors I talked to thought it was fairly normal and nothing to be worried about. But I did decide to start a vitamin D supplement. There are 2 types of vitamin D, vitamin D2 and vitamin D3. Vitamin D2 is always vegan, it's from plant-based sources. Vitamin D3 is often made with animal sources, but it's actually the more potent form of vitamin D. Fortunately, there are a few vegan vitamin D3 formulas you can find online. This is the one that I use, and it's vegan, it's vitamin D3. If you want to purchase this particular vitamin D3, I will put a link for it in the description box below. And now, to answer whether I'm anemic or not, no, I am not anemic. My iron levels, or the values that check for iron, are totally normal. But before I became vegan, my hemoglobin was a little bit low, so I was technically borderline anemic, but since going vegan, I'm not. So vegans can definitely get enough iron on a plant-based diet. So why do I have dark circles under my eyes? It's pretty common actually in my family for women to have dark circles under their eyes, and it's pretty common for South Asian women in general to have them, and it's just part of my face. And I'm fine with it, so there you are. The primary sources of iron in my diet are leafy greens and dark chocolate. You can have salad and you can have a lot of chocolate as vegan. Chocolate and unsweetened cocoa powder or raw cacao powder, full of antioxidants. It's got a lot of iron, it's got some calcium, it's got a lot of magnesium. Another great source of iron that you might not expect is blackstrap molasses. And it's got 25% of your daily iron needs and 20% of your calcium needs in just 1 tablespoon. I make a really healthy hot chocolate using unsweetened cocoa powder, a little dark chocolate, some plant-based milk, and this blackstrap molasses. It's packed with iron, magnesium, calcium. It's so good for you, it's delicious, and it definitely helps you stay full. Some other great sources of iron are leafy greens. Leafy greens are amazing for everything, for all kinds of minerals and vitamins. And if you're a little overwhelmed by the volume of leafy greens, just cook them down, because 1 cup of leafy greens cooked down is like a couple bites. Another great source of iron are beans and lentils. I try to eat some sort of beans and lentils every day. In addition to having iron, they have lots of protein and fiber and other kinds of vitamins and minerals. They help you stay full, they've got complex carbs. So I really recommend adding beans to your diet, lentils, legumes, all that kind of stuff. Another great source of iron are cashews. If you're vegan, you probably love cashews because cashews make everything delicious. You can make cashew cheese, you can make cashew cream, you can make a cashew cheesecake. I really recommend adding some cashews to your diet if you're looking to boost your iron intake. I hope this was helpful information. If you enjoyed the video, please hit that thumbs up button, and I will see you guys in the next video. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.